Welcome, everyone. We're just going to give a couple more minutes to connect into your sound, and for last minute people who are going to join us, I want to thank you for virtually coming out on this cold winter evening. I was out earlier today, but it got colder and colder as I was out there. So I think it's pretty chilly out there right now. So I'm grateful for virtual meetings so that no one had to brave the snow and the cold to get together this evening. So this is our monthly Meet the Experts workshop. So once a month, we get together as a team with the community to either talk about certain topics, or in our case, this month, we are going to spotlight our team and talk a little bit about who we are, but then also just little tips that we have as doulas that we can provide to all of you. You'll see our lovely team. They are, a lot of them will be here introducing themselves. So on the agenda, you will meet our team, as I mentioned. Each of the team members will have a couple of minutes to chat. Then we will have a question and answer portion. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask us, please feel free to let us know. And then we will be doing something kind of like doula speed dating. So some of our team members are going to stay around, and we will put whoever wants to into private breakout rooms where they will be able to chat with our team members and get to know them a little bit more. So my ask for our guests this evening is if you could please introduce yourself in the chat. I know nobody wants to be put on the spot, so we're not going to make you unmute and actually speak to us. But if you could, in the chat, just let us know your name. Are you a current client, or are you here for some information? Are you expecting, or do you already have your little one? And then if you could also include, do you want to be a part of the breakout room session? So again, this is no pressure. It's not recorded or anything. It's just a time for you to have some individual question and answer time with our team so that you can get to know us a little bit better. So I will encourage you all to find the chat at the bottom and introduce yourselves. And while everyone is doing that, I would love to introduce Jessica, who is a birth and postpartum doula on our team. And she is going to introduce herself and tell us a little bit more about her doula journey.
Thank you, Christy, for the intro, and good evening, everybody. My name is Jessica, and I'm a birth and postpartum doula here at Helping Hands. So in these discussions, we like to just be able to share a little bit about ourselves and sometimes the questions that we get the most. So we just want to lay it out all on the table. So feel free, like Christy said, we can have individual Q&A or Q&A at the end. So why did I become a doula? I have lots of stories and lots of paths of how this happened. So I'll just kind of tell how I got here today. So I was invited to start attending family members' births at a fairly young age. I was 15 when I went to my cousin's birth for the first time. And I didn't think anything unusual about this, but it kind of is when I think back on it. That's not something that we typically do in grade 9, grade 10 anymore. And I was definitely not an experienced person in the room. I had no training whatsoever. I was just there as an extra set of hands to my aunt and uncle. And I wouldn't say that I fell in love with it right away, but it normalized it for me. I wasn't afraid of birth. I thought it was a fairly normal thing to do on a Thursday afternoon. And I started getting invited by other friends and family as they were welcoming their little ones to be able to be just an extra set of hands or the calmness in the room. So after finishing university, I had a what the heck am I going to do with my life moment? I guess like a not even a quarter life crisis, but something of that nature. And I decided to go back to school for an extra leap year. And I took lots of random courses from children's literature to philosophy programs. And I learned about midwives. And I couldn't stop thinking about it that, you know what, maybe there's a different avenue with supporting people during their birth time rather than just being a doctor, being a nurse, but there's also a midwife. And upon my research and looking into that opportunity for myself, I learned that there was also a lot more breaking down from holistic point of view, and doulas being one of them. So I could not stop. I was a force to be reckoned with, and I jumped into doula training while I was still finishing up my 5th year of university and started providing the support in a different way, in a way that had education, the way that had the ability to learn how to support people similar to like a support person, a PSW, for example, but specialized in this time of life. And I fell in love with it. And along the way, I fell into working with Christy, and then also this great group of people to help support people in a shared care way, which makes it a lot more sustainable for all of us. So that was a little while ago. Still very much love it. It still keeps me in this line of work. And the biggest thing that keeps me going is the heart-centered work that we all do. Being able to make space for people during this time of welcoming their babies is unlike any other job. It's very special. It also takes a lot of work and a lot of energy. So I think you'll find with all of us, we're a pretty passionate group of people. And I think you have to be working in this line of work. So some fun stuff that I like to do when I'm not doulaing is I love to spend time with my hubby and my wiener dog, Daisy, and she acts a lot like a baby in a lot of strange ways. For example, she can always be found on a lap of someone else. She likes babies, and she's currently our baby. So that's a little bit what we like to do. I love camping. I love being outdoors. I love exploring new recipes and treating other people with my food language. And that's kind of what I do off the clock. And something that I find a lot of new parents find surprising about this new life phase is you don't just pick up with your normal life and just keep on going. The amount of adjustments that you make as new parents is surprising for most people. And a lot of people just kind of feel like they focus on the birth of what they want that to look like, but may not necessarily plan for their best postpartum experience or their best self-care time with learning how to do the most important job with very little guidance, unless you're hiring a doula. So my best advice to people that are listening now is think about that. Think about what you're going to need during a time where you might be a bit sleep deprived, learning on the fly, and just be compassionate with yourself. So that would be my biggest takeaway today. So looking forward to meeting all of you a little bit later on.
Thank you, Jessica. And before we introduce Amanda, I just wanted to mention a little bit more about the breakout rooms, because it seems like people are scared to be alone with us in a room. So I just wanted to explain a little bit more about what happens in those rooms. So it's just an opportunity for the doulas to get to know you a little bit more. Part of our role as a doula is to take the lead, so you don't have to worry about about what you have to say or what questions you have or don't have. It is our job to kind of get that information from you. But it's just a great opportunity to get to know some of our team members. And what you'll find is that we are all very similar, and that you probably would connect with just about all of us, which is on purpose. But yeah, so please don't be afraid. We can just sort of help facilitate that. And the comments after these meetings has been that that's their favorite part for the attendees that have come. So Amanda, I would love for you to take it away and explain a little bit more about you and your doula story.
Thank you. I'm Amanda. I'm primarily a postpartum doula. I came to Helping Hands because of the team aspect. I really love that. And I think that for clients, that's a huge benefit. My original reason for becoming a doula stems way back to when my first daughter was born, and she's going to be 15 this summer, so a little while ago. It really is about the fact that I didn't have a lot of support because my family wasn't available. They lived quite a ways away and weren't able to be here. They supported the way they could, but it was in a very intense 24-hour support, and then it was just gone. And I realized going through that, and then my next two children after that, that I really needed some ongoing support. And there were points in the middle of the night that I felt really alone and really needed someone there with me. And then just the emotional support, which presently in the work I'm doing, I'm finding the most satisfying for me, actually, and leading into the second question of my favorite thing about being a doula is really just being there for families when things are going really well, when things are not going so well, and being able to listen and support and guide them, and seeing the smiles on their face when I leave and they're feeling confident and like they've got this and they don't need me anymore and they can handle what they've got in front of them to do. I have 3 children, 15, almost 13 and 10. And for the third topic of my favorite things to do right now is tying right up with that emotional support topic is that I'm really leaning into yoga. I'm really enjoying that and finding that time for my own self-care to look after myself so that I can support them as best I can. And I think going back to what Jessica said about finding your own time for self-care, it's a process that starts from the time you're pregnant until you just keep on going. And I don't see an end in sight to that. So it's really important to be looking after that. Something surprising, I think families aren't prepared for necessarily, which is interesting because I think we talk about it a lot, but is the sleep aspects of newborns and infants. And I think we know we're going to be tired, and you know that it could be challenging, but I don't think we have as much information as we could have around that. And just to give our doula Petra a little plug, she has a workshop coming up that she's amazing and really could be beneficial if you're not sure what sleep really should look like. I know I've found families find it very confusing that after the first 2 or 3 weeks, when they thought their baby was sleeping really well, all of a sudden they start waking up all the time and their naps are getting really short and they think that their baby is having short naps. And I really love guiding them through the process of having their baby have a longer nap, because that's really satisfying for the baby and for the families. So I think that's probably the thing I'm finding most surprising for families right now. And that's everything about me.
Thank you, Amanda. So sleep and feedings. So those are the 2 things I would say we see the most challenges and information is needed. I'm sure all of our doulas would agree. So I would love to introduce Sarah, who is a postpartum doula on our team.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's nice to virtually meet you all. So I'm going to jump right in. Why I became a doula. I've always been a natural caregiver. I come from a family of 5 children, and I'm the middle child, but I'm the eldest daughter. And so I feel like that kind of fell naturally onto my shoulders, and I was also really, really good at it. I've always loved babies and children, and I've worked with them in many different ways over the past 25 years. And I've just always loved to be in that supportive role. So that's how I kind of, I think that's kind of a part of my why. But then fast forward to having my own children, then I actually became really obsessed and passionate about childbirth and all things motherhood and becoming a parent and postpartum care. And once I went through it myself and realized the realities and understood that most people really don't have the proper care after birth, I wanted to be part of that. And I wanted to take my natural skills that I already have and kind of hone them in to this wonderful world. Oh, can you still hear me? Oh, okay, we're good. Sorry. My internet was unstable. So yeah, I just thought I might as well use my natural giftings and skills and use them in this little niche market of the postpartum world. And so I just absolutely loved it. And the reason I love it is that now I'm able to share knowledge that I've learned. I'm able to educate and empower parents really. And in this very vulnerable transitionary time, I'm able to see them kind of grow and learn together and thrive. And I think that's kind of what Amanda touched on too. It's just so wonderful to see when families kind of have that moment like, okay, we can do this. Like we know the skills and we're going to get through this. So that's a big thing that keeps me in the profession, is just to be able to see the families learning and growing together. It's really beautiful. So when I'm not doing doula work, I love to explore and find green spaces all around Toronto and the GTA. And yes, it's not just a concrete jungle out there. So if you get creative, if you are prepared to explore outside of your own backyard, you can find lots of fun places to go to. So that's what I love to do with my 3 boys. And the last one is something that I find clients find surprising about postpartum, and that is all about feeding. So feeding at the beginning, feeding your baby, whether you do breastfeeding or bottle feeding or a combination, it's going to take up a lot of your day. And so that's something that I find most clients find really, really kind of shocking. Like you're going to be sitting on the couch or wherever on the bed, like you'll be there around the clock. It's not just this magical every 3 hours type of a thing, because there's just other complications that can come in, and then feeding could take a long time. So it takes up a lot of your day, and it does get easier and it does get better, but just be prepared that feeding baby at first will be very time consuming. So get comfy and try to enjoy it. And if you are struggling, reach out for help early. That's my other little last tidbit of advice. Oh, nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Sarah. So I guess I'm up next. My name is Christy. I am a birth and postpartum doula on the team. So Helping Hands kind of started off as my baby in a way, because 21 years ago now, I had my first doula baby through Helping Hands and continued to sort of grow as a birth doula and then postpartum doula down the road. One of the challenges that I find with being a doula is that it's not the kind of thing that you're in an office and you're able to have conversations with other people who are doing what you do. And it is a very unique field. There's not a lot like what we do as doulas. So it was kind of hard to talk to people about what I was learning or things that I was struggling with as a doula, but fumbled my way through it, learned a lot by making some some mistakes, and then found that it was just too lonely for me to do it by myself. And luckily enough, Jessica was also looking for a partner, and we became partners about 6 years ago now. And that was when we really started to put together the shared care model for birth support, where we could work together to support clients. And that made a huge difference for work-life balance, which, there's always times where, work might need more of you, life might need more of you, and you kind of figure it out as you go. But if you're the only one supporting clients, that can be really challenging. So when there was a partner, and a pretty awesome partner to lean on, it made a big difference. And our clients really felt that as well. So they were able to have 2 experts and 2 people supporting them throughout their experience. And then people started asking for postpartum support. And as 2 people, it's kind of hard to do everything 24/7. So that was when our team started to expand. What I love about what I do now is I'm able to be a doula for clients, when the opportunity arises, but I'm also able to doula our team. So be able to find out how things are going with them, and what supports they need to be able to do the job that they do. So it's the same job, really, only with different people. One of the things that I think surprises people is that there's a lot of focus on preparing for birth, right? There's you do the classes and everybody talks about their birth experience, but they don't talk about the time after baby comes home. And when you look at your whole journey as a parent, the birth part, although very important and can be extremely life-changing, is this much of the whole journey as a parent. And so I love what we do as doulas because we can be that continuation. It's not like our support ends after birth. We can support families as they transition into the role of parents. And as I mentioned earlier, and as Amanda mentioned, sleep and feedings are 2 of the biggest things that we see can make or break a postpartum experience. So a baby that is eating well tends to sleep better. And when babies are eating and sleeping well, the whole family seems to be happier. So I guess a little bit about me when I'm not doulaing. I do have 3 children, small, medium, and large, I would say. One is a young adult, one is a teenager, and one is a school ager. So it's kind of fun to have my hand in all sorts of different ages and stages. And our house is a musical theater house. So we can be seen bursting into song about just about anything. And we recently just watched In the Heights, which is the writer of Hamilton, the musical, did a musical before that, but they just put together a Netflix special. And so we were all enjoying that, except for my husband, who was downstairs playing Fortnite with his friends, which was fine. So that's a little bit about me, and I look forward to hopefully getting to know some of our guests a little bit more in the breakout rooms. And now we have Petra, who is our sleep expert on the team. Tell us a bit about
Christy.
Yourself.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So very nice to meet you. My name is Petra, and I am in the birth industry for a long time. I started out as a maternity care nurse, and when I came here to Canada, I worked first as a birth doula, and then quickly realized that postpartum care is very much needed. So that's where I specialize. And when I was working with my postpartum clients, I did see that a lot of them struggled with sleep for themselves and for their baby. So I educated myself in that field and I became a sleep consultant. And interesting enough, when I was pregnant with my second child, actually, I met Christy. She took care of me when I had some aches and pains. And when I started going back into the doula business again, I met Jessica. So it's been a while that I know them. And recently, I started working with them as a sleep consultant. So what I like about being a sleep consultant, I really, as other doulas have already said, is the surprise that most parents have when they realize after 2 weeks, like, oh, this baby is not sleeping as well as we see them sleeping in the movies. Or when I visit my friend or my sister, her baby is sleeping and how does she do that? So I love that I can educate people about that, about normalizing sleep, about empowering new parents that what they are doing to help their baby to sleep is totally normal and totally fine. And that's one of the things that I love. There's so many aspects that I love about sleep, and that is also what keeps me in the sleep business and in the doula business, because I love working with new parents. I love working with them prenatally so that they do know what to expect and that they have reasonable expectations for sleep. And I love working with the doulas who are supporting the clients and will connect with me when they have a question or when they feel that they need a little bit more background about something, and I can help them with that. So I love doing that. So I think Christy and Jessica will tell you a little bit more about the prenatal sleep workshop that is coming up. And we're really excited about that. And you really have to think about signing up for that, because you're going to be so happy to have all these tools in your backpack before your baby arrives. My favorite thing when I am not doulaing, that's the good one, because I'm not going to say I'm sleeping a lot, but yeah, I do sleep a lot actually as a sleep consultant when I'm not working. So that's one of my favorite things, good sleep. Another thing that I really enjoy is hanging out with my children and my husband, doing cooking together, baking together, eating together. And my most favorite thing is traveling, which is really not happening these days, but I love to go back to the Netherlands and connect with my friends and family there, because I haven't seen them in a long time. So I can't wait to go there and see them again. And looking forward to connect with all of you. And any questions, let me know. Happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Petra. And Jackie, we would love to hear a little bit more about you and your postpartum doula story.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jackie. I'm a postpartum doula with Helping Hands Doula. I became a doula because I didn't know the profession existed until last year. So I started last year in May. But I was looking into getting into midwifery, and along the way, I found that there is this profession, postpartum doula, helping families post-birth. And I was really drawn to that because after my first child, I found it really challenging. I had mine in Australia and my family's here in Canada. So not having my family there, I found challenging and just had a lot of questions. I had troubles feeding, and looking back, if I had had the support of a postpartum doula, I feel like my journey would have been more enjoyable. So that's what drew me to the field, because I could relate to that. Yeah, after you have a baby, it can be really challenging. So if you can get support, it's very, very valuable. What keeps me in the profession is I find it so rewarding. I really enjoy being a part of a new family's journey. It's a very intimate time. It's a very vulnerable time. And I feel very privileged to be a part of that. It's hard to put it into words. You'll see after you have your babies. But I love being part of that journey, and I love supporting them in whatever capacity they need. And I find with every family, it's different in what they need the most support in. And it's really rewarding for at the end of the shift or at the end of my time with the family to see that they are confident and they are empowered and they are just confident in their own abilities. And I have a lot of parents ask, what's the right way to do this? Or what's the right way to do that? And there is no right way to do all of it. And that's a really good thing to know and to be confident in, that your way is the right way and what works for you and your family is the right way. So helping families decide what their right way is really rewarding. I also like being in this field because I keep learning. So I attend seminars and read books, and I still constantly learning from Petra as well about sleep, and through books that I'm reading, and also through the families. I learn a lot about things culturally and what other parents do. I have 3 of my own, but by no means am I a complete expert. I know what's worked for me, but I learn what works for other families through other families. So I really enjoy the learning aspect of this career as well. When I'm not dueling, I too like camping. I like being outside. I like traveling. I'm starting to get the travel bug back. This COVID stuff is making me go a little bit stir crazy. I'm ready to go explore and travel even just within Canada. So before being a postpartum doula, I was a flight attendant for 7 years. So I did lots of traveling, and then I kind of got sick of it. And now I'm ready to like just go explore a little bit. So that's what I like to do. Like to spend time with my family, and I like spending time outdoors. I find I'm just a happier person outside. And what else do we have? One thing I find that families find surprising is, and I find what I'm going to say is, after talking to the parents, or both parents, like 3 to 6 months after having their baby, one thing that they found surprising is that it took a bit of time to bond with their baby. So you see in movies and videos that, parents are crying with joy when their baby's born. If you don't feel that when your baby's born, that is okay. And that is normal as well. So some people feel guilt, like, oh, I don't know if I love my baby, or, just that worry, that is okay. And it will come. Just be patient with yourself, have compassion for yourself. You've been through a lot. You've just given birth. Your body's gone through a lot. Your mind has gone through a lot, and that is okay. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. I think that's a really important thing to mention, because you can feel guilty if you don't have that love at first sight feeling. So knowing that that's normal is very important. So Maria,
Hello.
Would love to hear more about you and your doula journey.
Hi. Why I doula? So I think it's a common theme for many doulas to just have a passion and connection with babies, and that's exactly what it is for me as well. From a very young age, just very connected and drawn to babies and holding them and supporting people who had just had a baby. And so it just comes very natural to me. So that's kind of why I do it. Just really find it rewarding for myself to support people and empower them and make them feel like they have somebody to talk to kind of bounce ideas off, or bounce their kind of their struggles off, and then just making them feel like, this is normal. Exactly what Jackie said, like the way you're doing things is perfect for you and your baby, and that's great. So I just love the empowering aspect and the support. I think it's really necessary, especially in the society that we live in, and especially if you don't have that family or friend support. And even in COVID, we're very isolated. So I just find it very important, the work that we do. So something about me, I also have 2 young children, so just love spending time with them, cooking. I think doulas are very similar. We like kind of the same stuff, homey stuff, connecting with our families. We went out to play in the big snowstorm, and it makes you feel like a kid again, going down the hill and just jumping in the snow and stuff. So that's what I like to do. Also connecting with nature, being outside. I live like right across the street from the lake, so I'm very blessed to be able to wake up and see that huge body of water, and it makes you feel just really connected to nature. Some tips or some things that kind of are surprising to families as a doula. I think just there's so much pressure around feeding and the method that you're doing it at, and so breastfeeding or bottle feeding or cup feeding, or there's so much stuff, and there's a lot of pressure, I think, from healthcare providers that, do it this way, do it that way, pump. And it's like, it really drives parents, I think, a little bit. It kind of stresses them out. And I like to be able to tell people, just fed is best. That's the most important thing. Feed the baby. If you're trying to breastfeed, but you're having a hard time and you're tired, just give them some formula. They're going to be able to do it. It takes some time. Everybody's learning. That's another thing, have patience with your baby. They're learning. This is new to them. They're all of a sudden in a new environment, and it takes some time to adjust. So take those 4 weeks to pretend as if your baby was still in the womb, hold them very close, keep them close to you, and that builds their confidence, and that allows them to kind of come out of that shell around the 4th week and really acclimate themselves to the real world. So definitely feeding is a huge one, and sleep, sleep when baby sleeps. And I know that's like, it's gonna be harder said than done, but don't worry about the piles of laundry or whatever. Get people to help you. That's also a benefit of the postpartum doula, because we can help with those things. Even if you just get us once or twice, it makes a difference. So yeah, I think, and then, yeah, I think that's what I'll say for today. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maria. Odessa is a postpartum doula on our team. She had a bit of a crisis at home tonight. She has some little ones as well, and it seems like there's a couple of people on our team whose children decided to have meltdowns this evening. So she's tending to her family, which is important, and we are glad that, again, we have a team so that she can do that while we can be here with you. So I think this might be our last speaker. So last but certainly not least is Sharon, who is postpartum doula on our team. So take it away and tell us about you.
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. My name is Sharon, and I don't know if you've noticed the coincidence of the last name with one of the first speakers that spoke. And so my life as a doula started because I basically lived with a doula for quite a long time, and saw how wonderful her life was being a doula. Also saw the struggles she went through being a doula and being a mom. And have to say, one of the best things that ever happened to Christy, other than her husband and kids, was her partnership with Jessica. And that took so much pressure off her to have her back and be able to take some time off when needed. And I think that's what the whole Helping Hands idea of the team is, that you're not under so much pressure that you have to work X amount of hours a week, or you're only with a certain family. One of the best things I think for the family point of view is getting to know more than one doula, because we all have different tips and ideas that we can bring to help you. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and having a couple of doulas that you know and trust and know the layout of your house and your systems and stuff will really put your mind at ease, because there's very seldom that we let a family down and don't have someone to help. And with COVID, and some people get sick, the kids get sick, and it's been all kinds of things. I think for the most part, we've always been able to cover shifts, and I think that gives a lot of security to the families. I've been with Helping Hands. They call me the OD in the office. I think they're saying that's one of the original doulas. I think it's because I'm the old doula. But whatever it is, I'm happy to be here. And I work with really great girls. I am mainly a nighttime postpartum doula. And so I've been with Helping Hands about 6 years. I love that I can walk in and find a family totally exasperated, exhausted, just ready to crumble, and be able to empower those people to see it's okay to be tired, it's okay to be frustrated, and it's okay to take time for yourself. And that's what we're here to help you, give you some tips and tricks. And so many times I'll go in and just show them silly little things and they'll go, oh my God, I wish I knew that this afternoon when the baby was losing its mind. So it's really nice when I leave a shift and when the parents get up and say, oh my God, I had the best rest I've had for the longest time, because by taking the baby, especially to a different area of the house if we can, and the family knowing they can trust our care, it allows them to get into some really good, deep REM sleep. And if the mom is breastfeeding, even if it's only an hour and a half or 2 hour stretch that she gets, it's quality sleep. And she's not hearing all the squeaks and peeps and farts and burps that come out of these little people. They're squeakers. I say that all the time. They're not quiet. And so, you know, it's nice to take them. I'm used to the squeaks and peeps, and all of us girls are, but it just lets the family get some quality rest. One of the big things I like about being a doula is that I like to go in and say to the family, there's no one way to do anything. There's what's worked for you now and what works for you and your family. And I find it empowering that I can walk in and say, formula's not poison. It's not a problem. A lot of families come home so frustrated with the hospital care they've received, with very little help with breastfeeding, and it's drummed in their head that breast is best, and if you don't give them breast milk, you're a horrible parent. And that's not true at all. And I think a lot of the ladies who spoke before me have spoken that it takes time. It takes time for mom's milk to come in. It takes time and patience for both of you to learn the technique of breastfeeding. And I've had lots of families whose choice has been from the get-go, I don't want to breastfeed. I want a bottle feed. I want to pump. I want to give formula. And those babies, I love keeping in touch with my families, and 2 and 3 and 4 years later, getting pictures of these little ones running around, and they're totally healthy and happy, and they're doing fine. So the good thing about being a doula is we're really not judgmental. And I think you find a lot of times, in the hospitals, lactation consultants and all these people are very judgmental. And even in my age group, some people's moms are a little judgmental, just saying, I don't know who, but it's just nice to be able to even sometimes intervene with a family who has, parents who have their ideas of ways of doing things. And then, the new parents have their way, and being able to gently sway them towards, letting your children parent their own kids. So that's great. Probably one of the funniest things, and I love this, and Christy will remember this story. We had a family once, and there was a little girl who was about 3 or 4 years old, and we were caring for her brother. And she was just a joy, real talkative, and like sneak downstairs before mom got up in the morning and come to see her brother and chat with us. And, we would make her breakfast or whatever. And I remember one morning that her grandma came to take her to school. And she says, Booby, come and meet my doula, Sharon. She's not a babysitter. She's a doula, and she takes care of all of us. And I just thought that just filled my heart, because we're not babysitters. So many times I love to be able to be there for the partner. A lot of times they get left out of the equation, and they need a little, support, fluffing up, direction, some things to show them. For sure, we're there for the mom and the baby, but we're there for the whole, and sometimes it's not even helping the mom with the baby. Lots of times the mom is happy to be with the baby. It's other things that are stressing her out. We had one family who the new mom's biggest stress was nobody was walking the dog, and she felt so guilty that the dog had been neglected. And I put the baby in a stroller and took the dog for a walk. And when I came back, that birth parent was so happy that she felt this was her big stress. So the nice thing is being rounded as a doula. There's no set thing that we have to do. There's lots of things we're happy to do for you. And the biggest thing is feeling at the end of the shift, we've done something that helps you have a better day. So whether it's sitting and chatting with you and discussing different pumps or how you're feeling or how the feedings have been going or the sleep or whatever, we really do encourage sleeping a lot, trying to get the parents to sleep, showing different ways to get the baby to sleep. But we're really there for everything from, you know, a little bit of housework, throwing in some laundry, making a schedule for the parents. Sometimes new parents forget, like the ladies have said, that the birth parent gets left out of it a lot of times. She'll not make a schedule. She'll be behind on her meds. She'll be in a lot of pain. She'll have some stitches. She'll be constipated. And so we're there to try and make a routine to help her remember to have her drinking, to have her eating, remind her to have a shower, and, you know, really be there for the entire family. So that's what makes me feel good at the end of the shift, when I can leave and feel like I have done something to help these people. What do I like to do in my spare time? I'm a fall person. I love the fall, and I am lucky enough to know somebody with a wonderful cottage, and I'm allowed to go up to that wonderful cottage as much as I want in the fall. And it's close to Toronto, and I just love going up there and the smell of the leaves. It's a very shallow lake, so you know, we can go walk around. It's close to lots of things, so that's my happy place, is to go to the cottage with a friend or two. And I have a wonderful family very close by. I'm lucky enough to be one of those people with the big fat Greek wedding, that I have my family on my street, and I get to see my grandkids whenever I want. Maybe sometimes I'm at their house too often. I don't know. I haven't got kicked out yet, but it's nice to be able to share food and shop at her fridge and share cars. And, you know, the kids need something, they pick up a pickup or a ride. It's just fills my heart to feel like we are a very close family, and doula work just fits into that whole package very well for me. So I probably talked too much, so I am going to say goodbye to everybody. I hope you'll join us in the chats, and it's read our Google reviews. That's the best way to see the different things we do. And don't go to Dr. Google, because you'll find something that's going to kill you or your baby. So that's one of the first things I usually say to the new parents is, don't look up anything online. It's usually going to kill you. So anyways, good night, everybody. And I hope I see somebody in the chat room.
Thank you for sharing. And as was sort of teased a little bit along the way, our amazing sleep consultant Petra is doing a sleep workshop at the beginning of February. So February 7th at 7. It's $35 per screen. So it doesn't matter how many people are behind the screen. It's $35 per screen. And if you are interested in this workshop, please feel free to email us at hello@helpinghandsdoula.com, and we would be happy to send you more information or to get you registered. So we didn't have any questions come through the chat, but one of the things that does come up sometimes during these question periods is, with postpartum doulas, you think postpartum depression sometimes. And so you think, well, do doulas have experience when it comes to mental health challenges? And the answer is yes. But as doulas, the great thing about a doula is we're not a medical care provider. So we don't make any diagnosis, we don't prescribe any medication, but sometimes you just need to have an extra set of hands. You might need some encouragement, and also just also encouragement to seek proper medical advice as well. So we do have a lot of experience with all sorts of different things. We think of postpartum depression, but there's also postpartum anxiety, where some people just can't sleep because their mind is racing. And so there are different things that people can experience, and it's not just the birth parent. Support people can also feel down afterwards. And a lot of it too is tiredness, and just not getting enough sleep can exacerbate a whole bunch of things. So definitely something that crosses our paths on a regular basis, and is something, thankfully, it's talked about a lot more, and people are more open to getting support for that sooner rather than later, which is good. So that's the end of our official presentation. As I mentioned earlier, this is the time that we break out into breakout rooms. There was a couple of you that had mentioned you were interested in that. So we're going to open those up. For those of you who were on the fence, you are welcome to change your mind. I'm going to be popping into a breakout room with someone, but Jessica can set you up with that if needed. And thanks again for joining us. We appreciate you spending your evening with us, and let us know if you have any questions. You can contact us at the office anytime as well.